Title of today is Help, We Need a Physician. Let's say that together. Help, we need a physician. Our text is Matthew chapter 9, verses 9 to 13. Matthew chapter 9, verses 9 to 13. Today I want to look at a powerful incident in the work of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, which is actually packed, I think, with hope for all of us today, right? On the 11th of September, on BBC Radio 4 News, we are told that the Department of Health has said that 5,000 people die from suicide every year. 5,000. And that number is made up of young people, autistic people, middle-aged men, and it's the leading cause of death up to a year after pregnancy. In response, the government has launched a national suicide prevention strategy to reduce the number of people taking their own lives in 2.5 years. As I did a bit of research on this, I found that there were consecutive governments over the decades that have launched national prevention strategies to try and reduce the amount of people committing suicide in our wonderful country. Every life is precious. Life is for living. The fact that we have so many strategies released every number of years by our governments to try and reduce the amount of people committing suicide says something. It says that we're not getting on top of it. I want to put it to you that we need a physician. We need a doctor. We need some help if we're going to see things change. So I want to take a brief look at the incident in the work of Jesus when he was on the earth. And I want to find, in this particular incident, I want to find whether there is hope for us today. Are you ready? Verse 1 of Matthew chapter 9. When it comes up, let's read together. As Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he arose and followed him. You see, Jesus has just healed a man emotionally and psychologically by telling him that his sins are forgiven. That all the things he said and thought and done that are wrong, that has affected his psychological being and affected his physical being, all those things, Jesus says, I forgive you. And not only did he forgive him, but he also healed him of his physical paralysis. And he moves on from this person, and he approaches a man called Matthew at his place of work. Say, at his place of work. It is important that we acknowledge his place of work, because his place of work actually says what his profession is. And it's very important that we understand his profession. His place of work was a tax office, and he was a taxman. In other words, he gathered taxes. Now, you say, what's significant about that? What's important about that? Well, we need to understand that the Jewish nation was under occupation of the Romans. It was part of the Roman Empire. Israel in those days. And the Romans were a nation, an empire of great technology, great power, great wealth, but by gum they were mean and they were tough. And they had people within every nation who were responsible for taking up taxes. Obviously, they needed taxes to run their empire. And they taxed people of other nations more than they taxed their own nation, their own people. And so Matthew was appointed to be, who was a Jew from Israel, was appointed to be a tax gatherer, a tax collector by the Romans for them. That was his job. That's what he was called to do. And so he would have a tax booth, and everybody would have to, in the province or the area, the district that he was in, and everybody would have to come and pay their set amount of tax, which would go, and he would pass it on to the Romans. That's all the Romans were interested in. And they said to Matthew and other tax collectors, what you gather for yourself from the people as your wages is totally up to you. This was the problem, Harley, you see. And so what Matthew would do, he'd gather what the Romans required. He would please his Roman masters by gathering what they required. But then for himself, he would gather as much as he wanted to live. And no one could do anything about it because he was protected by the Romans, the Roman soldiers. In fact, there would be a Roman soldier probably guarding his booth. And so the people felt robbed by him. So they felt cheated by him because he took more than, he thought about himself. The tax collectors thought about themselves. They became wealthy out of the poverty of the people, out of the suppression of the people. And also they would feel let down by his native people would feel let down by him because they'd see him as a traitor. Because here he was, a Jew serving the Romans. Here he was a Jew helping the Romans. Actually helping the Romans to keep them subject. And so they were not happy with him at all. And Jesus goes to see him. Jesus goes to his place of So Jesus, this rabbi, this honorable teacher, this person who is doing amazing miracles throughout the nation, who the common people are following him wherever he goes in the daytime to that tax office of Matthew, and everybody can see him. I wouldn't think that was good for Jesus' work, would you? I wouldn't think that was good for his ministry. But he does that. He goes there. And he says to Matthew 2 words, which are, follow me. You have to stop there in the text. Why is that so significant? That Jesus, he just says, follow me. Why is that so significant? Are you ready, Laurie? Let's be interactive very quickly. Why do you think Jesus' words, follow me, to Matthew, the tax collector, is so significant? Raise your hand if you want to have a stab at this one. Nigel Turner.
Because from all outward appearances, he was not only not following Jesus, he was not following his own nation, he was following the Romans. He was putting himself in that place of subjection to the Romans and his nation. So he was completely off the path.
Okay, all right. Anyone else? Pam.
Mine's probably the same, really. He probably just thought, this is not going to happen to me. Why are you asking me to follow you? I'm the worst of the worst. Have you got a problem?
Okay. Anyone else?
I would say to follow Jesus, then you become another personality. You are another man or another woman.
Okay. Steph, finally.
Possibly to break his, to deal with like fear of people. It was just like a radical, the statement is just radical, and if he actually does what Jesus says, he's making a powerful statement.
Okay, follow me.
Everyone around.
Follow me, follow me, follow me. Great. He was psychologically and emotionally sick due to being ostracized by his nation. He was psychologically and emotionally sick due to being marginalized and ostracized by his nation. And here is this rabbi who has tens of thousands of people following him, Marina, and he says, follow me. I don't know about you, but if you have ever met, if you have ever felt ostracized, if you have ever felt marginalized in society, you feel alone. You feel that you have been pushed to the fringes of community, the fringes of society, and nobody wants you. You see, you can get groups of people who are marginalized and ostracized, and they hang out together. They're not following anybody, they're just hanging out. But Jesus said, follow me. Do you not see how important this is? Jesus is saying, you're on the outside of society. You are at the outside, the edges of the nation. You have been rejected. You have been insulted. And you feel like nobody. But I am saying to you, I, who am a rabbi, I, who am the Son of God, I, who am therefore equal with God, I am saying to you, follow me. And the fact that he actually goes to the workplace, the place where all the Matthew sins, where he does all his works of injustice, Jesus goes to get him. He goes to get him. Jesus doesn't say, Matthew, you dirty sinner, you thief, you robber, you dirty boy, come over here and follow me. No, he goes to where he is. And he says, follow me. He says, come in to the nation. He says, come in to the midst of our nation. Come in to where everything is happening. You know that there's healing. You know that there is deliverance. You know that people's lives are being transformed. You know people are being filled with hope. You know it's happening around me because tens of thousands of people are following me. You know it, and I want you to be in the midst of it all. Follow me. Say, follow me. Verse 10. Let's read together. And as Jesus reclined at the table in the house, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. You see, that verse, Jesus says, follow me. And then suddenly we're at Matthew's house. You see, Jesus doesn't say, follow me and come and I'm going to take you to church. He doesn't say, follow me and we're going to sit round the table and we're going to, in church and we're going to worship and you're going to hear the Torah, the Jewish Bible, and I'm going to instruct you what it means. No. Jesus says, follow me. And then must have said, let's go to your house. Let's go to your house. And so Jesus So Matthew takes Jesus, and Jesus allows Matthew and wants Matthew to take him to his house. And and because he's in Matthew's house, so Matthew gathers all his friends who are doing wrong things, all his friends that are behaving in an unjust manner, all his friends who've been ostracized and marginalized in society. He brings all his friends that hang with him to his house, so that they can sit with this rabbi, with this Jesus, who says, "Follow me. Follow me." And I want to say to you today that if you feel marginalized, if you feel on the edges of society, if you feel that there is no place to lay your hat, and it may be you feel that way because you have done things wrong. Maybe other people have done things wrong to you. Maybe you've just been affected by the things of life. Life is hard, is it not? As we were worshiping, and there was a particular song that we were singing, and I was just crying because I said, life is tough. And sometimes the events of life drive us to the edges of community, the edges of society. You need to know that whether you're there because of life, or whether you're there because of things you've done wrong, or there because of the things that people have done to you that are wrong, Jesus is right there with you. And he's saying, "Follow me. Follow me." And he's saying, "Actually, I want to come to your house. I want to come to your house. I want to come where you hang out. I want to come where you feel safe." Matthew felt safe with people like him. They were following no one because they were pushed to the outskirts, but they were hanging out together. They were hanging on the outskirts together. And maybe you are hanging on the outskirts of society because you feel so bad inside. Maybe you are doing that. But I want you to know that Jesus is there with you. And he's there with you as you hang out with those who are similar to you, are in the same pain that you're in, the same anxiety that you're in, the same fear that you're in, the same rejection that you're experiencing. He's there with you and with them. Verse 11, let's read together. "And when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciple, 'Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?'" Who were the Pharisees? The Pharisees were religious leaders. The Pharisees thought they had it all together. The Pharisees thought they were superior to everybody and saw themselves as successful. The Pharisees would say, if you're going to be successful in life, be like us. If you're going to be successful in life, do what we do, say what we say. They felt they were superior to everyone. And anyone who was not like them, they saw them as cursed by God. That's how superior they thought they were. And they could not believe that Jesus, a rabbi who claims that he is the Son of God, therefore, if he is the Son of God, therefore he is equal with God. Therefore, God himself, how he, Jesus, could hang around with people who did not feel good about themselves, were marginalized, ostracized by secular society and even religious society. They could not understand what Jesus was doing there. It did not make sense to them whatsoever. You know, sometimes when Jesus hangs around with us, it doesn't make sense to people who are watching on. When you think of Charlotte's story, that powerful story, I can imagine that there were people looking at Charlotte and thinking, what do you know about God? God won't be interested in you. You turned to him and then you turned away from him. He's left you. He's not there for you. Verses 12 and 13 says this. Let's read together. But when he heard it, that's Jesus, he said, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. I like that word but. Say but. But. Say it again, but. It causes us to stand up. Something significant is being said. Something significant is about to be expressed. And what Jesus is saying is about to contrast massively with the Pharisees' thought processes and their attitudes. And what Jesus says is this: I have come for the sick. I've not come for those who think they are well and do not know their need. I've not come for those who think they've got it all together and are not aware of their need. I haven't come for them. I haven't left heaven for them. I haven't taken on the form of humanity for them. But I've come for those who know their need and are honest about it. And I, as the Creator, have abundant compassion and abundant mercy for them. If you don't think that you have need of Jesus, if you don't see the brokenness in your life, if you don't see the weight of your things that you've done wrong and said wrong and thought wrong in your life, if you don't see that have a sense of guilt and shame, if you don't see that how other people around you in your life have affected you by their wrong attitudes and their wrong actions and their wrong behavior, if you're not aware of that, if you're not aware of the pain and the shame that you carry, and that you're working hard to make life work and to fit into this wonderful area that we live in, if you're not aware of that, then can I be honest with you? Jesus is not for you. But if you are aware that you haven't got everything right, that there are things that you've said and thought and done that are wrong, that have shaped your life, and you wish you'd never said or thought or done those things, if you are aware that people in your life that you have gone to school with or worked with or had as friends have affected you in a negative way by the things they have said and they have done, and you're aware that has caused you pain, and that has kind of dictated how you live in the present, let alone how you live in the future. If you're aware of that, then Jesus came for you. If you can be honest and say, life is so hard, and I'm making a pig's ear of it. Even the best that I do seems to fall short. Yet there's got to be something more. Then I want to say to you, Jesus came for you. If you can be honest today and say that as I've faced the trials and the difficulties and the vicissitudes of life, I've actually thought I can't keep going anymore. And I've had dark thoughts. I've had suicidal thoughts. And said, maybe the best thing for me is to commit suicide and get out of it. Jesus came for you. The amount of men, middle-aged men, commit suicide because of the fact that we've worked so hard, we've struggled so much to succeed, to overcome, and everything in life seems to be against us succeeding. I don't know if you're a man, as a man, you can actually be honest. And so there's times when you've thought the best thing is just to opt out because you felt marginalized, ostracized, on the edge. Literally. On the edge. If you can be honest about these things. If as a young person you can be honest and say, I found life difficult already at my tender age. So much pressure from the internet. So much pressure from TikTok, so much pressure from Facebook, so much pressure from Instagram, so much pressure from my school friends, so much pressure from the education system that I've got to pass these amount of exams and I've got to get to this standard and all the rest of it. So much pressure. And my parents speaking to me, and I can hear them talking about the lack of money for the electricity bill, lack of money for the gas bill, lack of money for this, lack of money for that. And I'm watching them not eating because they're putting aside food for me so I can eat. It's too much pressure and it's too much stress. If you as a young people can say that, I felt like giving up. Opting out, taking my life. I want to let you know that Jesus came for you. He came for you. And He wants to go to your house. And He wants you to follow Him. He said, where's He going to lead me? He's going to lead you into His truth. He's going to lead you into His love. His love. That's what Matthew was experiencing. Nobody had said to him, follow me. Nobody had said to him, I want you to be with me. Nobody had said to him, I want you to walk with me. Nobody had said to him, and called him in broad daylight and said, come and hang with me. Nobody had reached out with love to him. Notice Jesus accepted him. He didn't say to him, you got to change in this area, this area, this area, and this area, and you can continue to be with me. No, Jesus said, take me to your house. I want to go where you are. I want to sit at your table. And I want to sit with people who are like you. I want to sit with people who identify with you. And then I want you all to just follow me. Because I love you. And I want to take you from the margins of society. I want to take you from the edges. And I want you to bring you into the center where I am. Where's He leading us? Leading us into a kingdom of love. What do you mean kingdom? He's saying, follow me. and live according to my rules. And by the way, I don't need my rules. They're all for you, so that you will prosper, so that you will be healed, so that you will do well. I'm an all-sufficient God. I'm complete. I need nothing from you, but I'm a good God, and I want to give to you. All that I have, I want to give to you. And God the Father gave Jesus to us. He died on the cross for us. And if he who's died on the cross for us, will he not give us all things that pertain to life? Jesus says, I want to give you everything. I want you to have abundant joy, abundant peace. I want you to have a sense of belonging. I want you to have a sense of hope, a desire for good, and a certainty that you'll receive it in your lifetime. I want to cleanse you of all your shame, and I want to take away your guilt. I want to wash you so that you're new in your conscience, new in your heart. I want to take all your sins as far as the east is from the west. I want to remove them from you. Nay, I not just want to remove them from you, I want to blot them out so that they're remembered no more, because I'm the judge of the living and the dead. And if I say that you're forgiven, then you're forgiven, and no one can condemn you. No one can hold you back. No one can put you down, because I have declared you're free. This is what Jesus is calling you into. Calling into you his kingdom, which consists of righteousness. You know, how many of you want to do what's right, to be involved with what's right, to enjoy what's right? Jesus says, my kingdom is a kingdom of righteousness. My rule is a righteous rule, and I'll empower you to do what's right and to enjoy what's right and be what's right. The kingdom is a kingdom of righteousness. Joy. Oh, joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. So much pain in life, so much sorrow. God wants us to give us joy in the face of the vicissitudes of life, in the face of the difficulties, the trials, the temptations. Life is life, is it not? I would like to say life is but I won't. Life is what it is. And it goes at us. But Jesus said, in the midst of life, you can have joy. Joy, because under my rule there is abundant joy and peace. Peace. Peace of heart. Peace of mind. Peace. Do you know, as you get older, you appreciate peace more and more, don't you? Just some peace. When you're young, you want to fight. You want to wrestle. Whoa. Battle it on. You want to be combative, don't you, Amanda? No, but anyway. But as you get on, just want peace. Just want peace. Life is so precious. Peace is so sweet. Jesus said, under my rule, there is abundant peace. So, the government's prevention plan. Not the first one, there have been many. I want to say to you, only Jesus can heal and make well those who are psychologically sick, emotionally sick, and physically sick due to wrong decisions we may have made, or the wrong decisions other people have made and it affects us, or due to the fact that life is what it is. He is our physician. We need him, guys. We need him. And today, he's here. And you can encounter him. From the age of 13, when I got saved, the only thing I wanted to do was tell people what I've just told you. It's the only thing. Because to me, this is life. If you have Jesus, you have life. Do I need a crutch? Do you need a crutch? No, you do not. You just need to be with the person who made you. And then you're complete. And so today is an opportunity for you. If you know that your life needs to change, if you know that you need to follow Jesus, if you understand that Jesus has what you need to live, this is the a day where you can say, Jesus, I've tried everything. And I feel ostracized, marginalized. I need some help. How many of you know you can be in a crowd of people and still, in your heart of hearts, be alone? Doesn't have to be like that. This day, that can change for you. All you need to do is say, Jesus, I acknowledge you as God. You came and you died on the cross for me. I'm sorry for ignoring you, for all the wrong things I've said and thought and done. Please forgive me. Please change me. Please make me the person you've designed me to be. And I will follow you and your ways all the days of my life. And then life begins.